I'd like to now introduce our next keynote speaker, Ms. Kate Burgess. Ms. Burgess is the Senior Program Coordinator responsible for the RACS Continuing Professional Development Program. Kate has spent more than 10 years working with the Australian College of Rural and Remote Medicine and the Rural Workforce Victoria, where she held roles as the Assessment Coordinator, IMG Coordinator and Program Coordinator. Kate's primary responsibility is to ensure that fellows, SIMGs and non-FRACS surgeons meet their CPD requirements. Kate has been leading the CPD transformation project, including the new framework and technology. And Kate will provide some valuable information on the new framework, tech and future enhancements. We welcome you, Kate.
Thank you. I will just share my screen with everyone. And of course, I won't be able to find it. Okay, thank you for having me and thank you for that introduction. I know when we hear the term CPD and it comes to the end of the year when everyone needs to enter their CPD, there's groans, there's rolling of eyes, because everyone has such a busy life and you need to get your CPD done. So today I'm going to show you what RACS has developed in progressing our CPD program and making it a lot easier for you in the process. So,
sorry, Kate, I'm just going to copy you. Your screen's not sharing.
Oh, really? Okay, just a moment. Like I am having a technical difficulty. Just bear with me for a moment. Can you see that now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. My apologies for that. So the background for CPD is that we at RACS are obligated to deliver a CPD program under our accreditation with the Australian Medical Council. I'll just make that a little bit bigger. A review of the CPD program occurs every 3 to 5 years and aligns with the regulatory requirements and retains relevancy to our scope of practice. The Medical Council of New Zealand and the Medical Board of Australia have both released revised CPD standards for the implementation in July 2022 for Aotearoa, New Zealand and 2023 here in Australia. The Medical Board requires all doctors to complete the following. They must nominate a CPD home and participate in its CPD program. Participate in CPD that is relevant to your area of practice. Base your CPD on a professional development plan or a learning plan and do at least 50 hours of CPD per year that includes a mix of reviewing performance, measuring outcomes and educational activities. In New Zealand, the Medical Council of New Zealand requirements are having a professional development plan or a learning plan, underpin all CPD with a focus of cultural safety and health equity, do at least 50 hours of CPD per year, which should include participation in an audit of your medical practice, peer review, so a minimum of 10 hours per year, continuing medical education, educational activities and a minimum of 20 hours per year, and have a structured conversation with a peer, a colleague or an employee at least annually to discuss the outcome data from their activities already taken. And that will be available from July 2022. So how did we go in reviewing the program? A review of the CPD program commenced in 2018 with a small group of fellows that established the guide to the project. The review examined Australian, Aotearoa, New Zealand and international CPD programs. We had discussions held with specialty societies, associations, RAC sections and the regulators. And all the major decisions were approved by the RAC's Professional Standards and Advocacy Committee. On July 1, the new program did launch. The program is underpinned by a cycle of learning, and participation is directed by your self-defined areas of practice. So areas of practice is something new that's been introduced this year. So participation in activities defined by your area of practice, technical and non-technical competencies. There's a list of areas of practice defined in consultation with the specialty associations and societies. And at the end of your CPD, you'll be asked to review and adjust as needed your areas of practice at the start of each CPD year. So what are the new CPD requirements that started the 1st of July? So from July 1, we're going to hold an 18-month CPD period to bring it in line with going back to a calendar year. So your requirements for this 18 months is a learning plan, education activities, audit, and performance review. Your learning plan is built into the CPD online, so there's a template already there for you to use, so you don't need to worry about uploading anything. And it will be aligned with your scope of practice, and that will be self-defined, and it will be against the 10 surgical competencies. The learning cycle requires surgeons to identify your learning needs and the opportunities to address these needs. Before finalising the plan, you'll be asked to reflect on your learnings. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, this should be undertaken in conjunction with a structured conversation with the peer, which is required by MC&Z. So your education activities, these were previously known as maintenance of knowledge and skills, and they remain largely unchanged. An area will be provided to allow you to enter your activities into CPD online. And the surgeons are strongly encouraged to reflect on cultural competence and cultural safety activities in this area. Audit and peer review. So audit remains an essential pillar in the CPD program. Surgeons must participate in at least one audit per annum aligned to your scope of practice. The peer review remains a mandatory requirement, encouraging transparency as surgeons review, evaluate, and reflect on the outcomes alongside your colleagues. Performance review. So this is something new that's been introduced, and the requirement consists of two key components. So there'll be performance review of self and performance review of others. Reviewing performance at an individual and system level acknowledges the importance of individual self-reflection and reflecting on the impact of surgeons' performance on the surgical team and health environment. So, welcome to your new CPD dashboard. You're very lucky, you're the first fellows to have a look at this, and this will be available on Monday, the 30th of August. It's very different to what you have seen before, and we're very excited to be presenting it to you. You'll see that it really has changed, better colours, and it will be a lot easier to understand. You will see that you have an overall progress bar now, which will show the percentage of your CPD that's been completed and how many days are left in the CPD program. It has broken up all the requirements, and it actually has broken up the performance review. So you can see that there will be a box for performance review of self and one for performance review of others. Your ASM activities for those in Australia, that will be the same, but there'll actually be a link here. So if you do have an outstanding case form, you'll be able to click on the link and it will take you straight to the ASM website where you'll be able to complete your forms. Here on the side, you have your dashboard. You can update your areas of practice. You can see your activities. And coming soon, we'll have some courses that we'll be able to recommend to you that align with your area of practice, scope of practice, where working on a peer connect, where those fellows that are out in regional areas that find it hard to connect with other peers, they'll be able to connect through there. And we'll have some little polls going on to get your feedback as we progress. So this, as I said, will be available on the 30th of August, and we do welcome your feedback. This is at the bottom of your dashboard. So previously you would have seen your competencies as a donut chart. We have moved away from that, and now you'll see that it is a line chart, but it will give you a snapshot of your CPD and the competencies that you're covering. It will give you a yearly tally as well as over 3 years. Other features that you'll be able to access in the portal, you'll be able to change from a RACS program. If you're participating in the AOA or the NZOA program, you can update your record to show us that. You can request an exemption. And a new thing that is coming, we're going to have a toolbox. That toolbox will have some templates for you. It will talk about the activities, because this program is more flexible. So you will be able to choose where your activities go. You'll be able to download your statements, you'll be able to click on support, and we will be there at the end of the phone to answer any questions that you have. So that actually brings me to the end of the presentation. And I really want to stress, even though this is new and it is a lot self-serving, I just want to really stress that the CPD team are going to be at the end of the phone to help you. We've got a dedicated CPD help desk for any technical difficulties once you first log in over the next few weeks. And we don't want to lose our contact with our members, so we're always here to help. So thank you. And if anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thanks for your presentation, Kate. I'm sure there are some questions out there, but while we're waiting for them, I will just ask you, when surgeons select more than one area of expertise or practice, say a general surgeon, a breast surgeon and a melanoma, are they disadvantaged, I suppose is the word I'd use, as opposed to somebody who just said that they were a colorectal surgeon?
No, they're not. And we actually confirmed that with the medical board yesterday. So when we're looking at your CPD, if you've been selected for verification, we'll just look at everything that you've done. So we'll look at your record that you're a general surgeon, and from there, these are the sub things that you do for practice from there.
Thank you. Some other questions. What are the reporting obligations of the college for non-compliant surgeons to the medical board?
Yes, that is still actually being discussed with the medical regulators. So whether it will be reporting non-compliance or reporting compliance is still yet to be determined. However, over the past few years, we've reached 100% compliance for our fellows and for our members. So we just hopefully we'll get to that percentage again, and we won't have to report anyone. So we do work very closely with fellows to get them over the line, and we don't want to report anyone if we don't have to.
Great. I have another question. How do non-clinical fellows fit into all of this?
Yes, good question. We're currently working with the senior surgeons section to help us a bit more with this. As any senior surgeon or anyone holds medical registration, you do have a CPD requirement. So from the 1st of July, that means that you will need to meet the audit and the performance review categories as well. So the chair of our committee, Dr. Professor Karen Fielding, suggested that as a senior surgeon that you go to some meetings at the local hospital and impart your knowledge on younger fellows, because the younger fellows are the future of the college, and the knowledge that our senior surgeons have is really great to impart because we don't want to lose that. And we're going to develop some templates so you can go to a meeting and just have it signed off to say, yes, I've attended, which will meet the requirements of the program.
Okay, thanks for that. How privileged are the self-reflection entries, as self-criticism has sometimes been used by litigation lawyers in other countries against the writer in the lawsuits against them? Interesting question.
It is. It's an interesting question. And again, we have been working with the medical board on that. There's some questions around qualified privilege. So on your reflection, just keep it basic. You know, you don't have to go into depth. You're not identifying anyone. It really is to keep it pretty simple at the moment.
Another question, what if your non-operative area of practice has not been listed by RACS?
Yes, we are aware that some of those are not showing in the areas of practice at the moment. So we have updated them, and when we go live on Monday, you should see some more areas of practice. If it's not, email us and we will get that fixed up for you.
Thanks, Kate. I'm sure there's plenty of bugs to iron out of that system along the way.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. So, but again, we value everyone's feedback and we will get things updated as quickly as we can.
I'll just give a moment if anyone else has any other questions for Kate. Doesn't look like it, Kate. So I'd like to thank all of our speakers in this session, Phil, Jin, Professor De Eva and Kate Burgess. Thank you all very much for attending on this online session. We will take a break for lunch now of about half an hour and we'll see you back at 1:30.